popularity contest, and unless they figure out how to do the fan voting, it's not going to change for the foreseeable future. And that frightens me. Snowman of the Morning, presented in part by Woodforest Bank, the official bank of the Arena Sports Network. Visit woodforest.com for more information. As mentioned, this portion presented by U.S. Tire and Auto of Gary, Indiana. Visit US-Tire-Auto. I read it wrong again. US-Tire-Auto.com, servicing Northwest Indiana since 1991. Now, with all that out of the way, I talked about Samardzija yesterday. I talked about Abreu and how Sales should be in the All-Star game already. And I'm getting a good look at my producer, who is smiling right now, but he's not going to be smiling in a minute. I'm going to bring up an argument that he and I have had for 2 months. And the argument surrounds a question. The question is, should Wrigley Field be blown to smithereens? Hell yeah. Put some dynamite around that thing. Have somebody, you know what you do? I'm joking around as I say this. And you know what you do? Here, let me get adjusted here. You know what you do? You put a whole bunch of dynamite around that place. All right? You have all your final games and everything, and have everyone take pictures of Wrigley Field. Of course, they're not going to take pictures of the dynamite. It's going to have to be an implosion, not an explosion. People taking their final pictures of Wrigley Field, which is celebrating its 100th birthday, excuse me. And after the final lot is made, you clear everybody out. You clear Wrigley Field out. And then you have a White Sox fan come up and push the plunger. Oh, the look on his face right now. You have a White Sox fan come up and push the plunger. He gets out of the way, and the explosion starts. That's how you solve that problem. That is exactly how you solve that problem. If they were looking at Rose, and they were once upon a time, they're looking at Rosemont, they should just go ahead and make the move and be done. Put Wrigley Field to rest. Hold on. Put Wrigley Field to rest. Put it out of its misery. And I know I'm going to anger a lot of fans when I say this. Let it be known as one of the few ballparks that existed in the majors that did not see a World Series championship. Because remember, the last time the Cubs won a World Series, they played at Westside Park. The closest they came was 2003. And we all know what the hell happened in the eighth inning of that. He's threatening to throw something at me. That's not good. Every time, listen, I love my producer dearly, okay? And he's writing some more notes down because we're going to go to a break here in a moment. I love my producer dearly. I do. But why does he have to pick on me in that fact? Listen, the way I met this man, we were in Starbucks in downtown Chicago, and he came up to me, and I was sitting at a table, and he came up and he says, "Can I use this chair?" I said, "No, because you have a Cubs shirt on." He starts laughing. I start laughing. We've been friends since. So I brought him on to be a part of the show recently. And he always tells me every morning, since I've been coming in here, since we moved our show here to Glenview, every morning he will tell me, "You cannot talk about the Cubs on air." I says, "Why not? That's half the doggone show. To a point, he played a practical joke on me one morning. He saw, I write my slate out for the show. He saw it, and he saw I had 2 things about the Cubs on that slate, and he crossed them out. And he said the only way you could talk about this is if you talk about him in the opposite way. So, of course, I disobeyed him, and I talked about them anyway. And I turn around, and he has this look on his face like someone just took his best friend away from him. And I get off the air, and I look at him, and he is just so sad. I said, "What is wrong?" He says, "I can't believe you talked about those things anyway." I said, "You never told me I couldn't." He says, "What is my number 1 rule?" I don't know what the hell your number 1 rule is. You never established those. That finally broke him. He finally started laughing after that. But no, getting back to the subject at hand, should Wrigley Field be blown to bits? Yes, put it out of its misery. It's too congested around there. Period. It should be put out of its misery. End of story. All right? It should be done. It should be blowed up sideways. It should be blasted into oblivion. That way you can move to a park where you can actually win some ball games and actually get some stuff done. I mean, what have we said about that? My buddy Josh Lopez tuning us in. Back up the truck. Back up the truck. I love it. Back up the truck, man. Okay, this is the full comment that Josh Lopez says. He says, "Back up the truck. Let's bring the bulldozers here and turn Wrigley Field into a parking lot." Would it do justice as a parking lot? Well, I can't ask that question. If we blow up Wrigley, you know what you do? Josh, if you're listening, this is the suggestion I made. You play the last game at Wrigley Field. Play the last game at Wrigley Field. After the last out is made, you have all the ceremonies you want with the cake cutting and all that stuff, and everybody clears out. And then in the middle of the night, with all the news cameras watching, you have a White Sox fan come up and push the plunger. Of course, now I'm totally joking on this subject, and I'm going way off base here. But it's too congested around Wrigley Field. You need some space. You need some elbow room, man. You need a few other things like a competitive team, but that's beside the point. And I'm being pointed at to take a break, so I'm going to take a pause right here. When we come back, there's a conversation that I had online that some folks wanted me to rank 4 players. And I slipped in a player that no one expected me to, except the people involved. Tell you about that in a deuce.
Chow down with the Italian collection at Subway.
Delicioso.
Try the Mongelis's Chicken Pizziola Melt, a fresh take on Italian with tender, juicy chicken, zesterific pepperoni, and plenty of our signature recipe marinara sauce.
Perfecto.
Mamma mia!
And taste the amore with the Meatball Pepperoni Melt, a kickin' combination of Italian-style meatballs and pepperoni on your favorite freshly baked bread.
Only at Subway.
And only for a limited time.
Don't miss out.
Subway. Eat fresh.
When Mother Nature takes your dream away, Rich Construction can bring it back to stay. 5,000 properties have been restored by Rich Construction in over 35 years of service. Rich Construction works for the insurance settlement, acting as a connection between you and the insurance adjuster. They will protect your interests by preparing a detailed list and negotiating every item with the insurance adjuster. With over 35 years of experience, Rich Construction can begin restoration immediately once the insurance adjuster and Rich Construction agrees upon the estimated damages. Prior payment for the construction is not necessary, and no one can put you back in your home faster than Rich Construction. Contact John Crocker for your free consultation today. Give them a call at 219-322-9200. That's 219-322-9200. Rich Construction Company, fire and insurance restoration specialists. Let us take the burden off your shoulders.
Hey, I'm Charles Tillman, cornerback for your Chicago Bears. I've tackled a lot in my life, but nothing more difficult than waiting for my daughter to receive a life-saving heart transplant. Thanks to the selfless gift of another human being, my wife and I get to hold our daughter each and every day. You too can help give someone a second chance at life. As a registered organ donor, you can help save the lives of more than 25 people. Be a team player. Register to be an organ and tissue donor at donatelifeillinois.org.
Now what's that? I say, now what's that boy up to? Better check on it, yeah.
You're listening to Snowman in the Morning.
Ask a silly question, get a silly answer.
Snowman in the Morning, halfway home here on this Express Edition, presented by LaporteCountyLife.com. LaPorte County Life, have you heard the good news? And this portion of Snowman in the Morning, as mentioned, presented by U.S. Tire and Auto. I read that one already. I'm sorry. It's presented by Kukla's Cupcakes, gourmet cupcakes for all occasion. Kukla's Cupcakes. Visit kuklascupcakes.com. All of our guests that appear on Snowman in the Morning appear courtesy of the Kukla's Cupcakes hotline. Now, I had one more comment, and Josh sent me another comment about Wrigley Field, when he said Wrigley Field reminds me of a dog taking a dump in the house the entire time. That's just not nice. Yeah. Gotta love when some of the fans get in on the conversation. All right. Talk a little NBA here, and the wildest of the wild cards has come into play in terms of free agency, and I can't believe I'm going to discuss this, but be that as it may, it is a hot topic, and it goes like this. LeBron James returning to Cleveland. You heard Rusty say during Rusty's morning wrap that the infamous letter that was put up by Dan Gilbert has been taken down off the website. Matter of fact, I'm going to look that up right now while I'm talking. You know what? It's just the state of the NBA right now. It's the state, excuse me. It's the state of the NBA right now. All about free agency, all about max money without max performance. And this gets on my, pardon me, and this gets on my nerve. It does. It gets on my bleeping nerves that it's come to this. And I spoke a little bit about this yesterday on the afternoon locker room. The state of the NBA right now, to say it's in flux would be nice. All you hear about, especially now, is max money, who's going where, all kinds of stuff. To back up the LeBron question, I had this one thrown at me. If he goes back to Cleveland, is all forgiven? No. And it will never be forgiven because, well, in their mind, it won't be forgiven. All will not be forgiven until he delivers a championship to Cleveland. And the entire state of Ohio will forgive him. Let let me change subjects right now, and I know Josh is going to enjoy this one. I posed a question a few months ago, and the question was, which city, professional sports city, is the most cursed city? And the overwhelming answer was Cleveland. Now, you have Johnny Manziel in Cleveland. And there is a possibility, although I do not see it happening, of you-know-who returning to Cleveland. I thought the goal was to get the hell out of Cleveland. Listen, I have many friends in that city. I pick on them about Cleveland all the time. And anybody who thinks I'm serious about this, you need to check yourself. I joke about this all the time. Okay? Now, with that preface being said, what the hell is in, besides the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, besides Cleveland State University, I'll get this preface out of the way too, besides the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, besides Cleveland State University, besides Jacobs Field, which I did have a chance to visit, and besides Quicken Loans Arena, which was formerly Gund Arena, what the hell is in Cleveland anyway? That's what I want to know. It's just, you know what? It just magnifies everything. One of the points that I'm jumping around here, so forgive me in advance. One of the points that I made yesterday on the afternoon show is the year that the NBA changed. And that year, to me, was 2002. And why do I bring up the year 2002? Because in my honest opinion, you saw the death of a rivalry until 2011 when the Bulls and Miami Heat decided to butt heads for the Eastern Conference Championship. And the Eastern Conference title was basically handed to LeBron. Yeah, I said it, and I'm going to continue to say it. He did not earn that conference title in 2011. Period. But the death of the rivalry, to me, came in 2002. With the end of the Lakers-Kings rivalry. When that series ended, you just had the feeling that a lot would change. Because that series marked 7 of the most entertaining games you've ever seen. It didn't produce the result that I wanted because I wanted the Kings to beat the Lakers. But that's the kind of basketball that died after 2002. That's the kind of competitive basketball that died in 2002. After the 2000, because the NBA Finals was a wash. It was a 4-game sweep. But that Western Conference Final had every emotion you can think of and a few more in between. It took you on a roller coaster ride and showed you everything that could happen when the game is A, played the right way, B, played the correct competitive way, and C, when the fans who are fans know what's going on. When all that happens, then you have what you had in 2002. My buddy Josh has a comment. He says it's the NBA, not NBA 2K video games. For example, another key team keyword, the Seattle Seahawks pummeled the Denver Broncos in a bunch They had a bunch of stars, not their teams. It's sad because my love for the NBA goes by the wayside year by year because of this mindset that we need a mega all-star team to win a championship the easy way. Man, you are so true with that. Sure, I believe that any other teams take the stars had the opportunity. My issue with that, okay, when you have other sports like NFL, Major League Baseball, and the NHL that have multiple stars on their team, I know there are more people on the field in those particular sports. The NBA only has five at a time. The thing with those sports, they have people that fit the position. Let me read that again. The thing with those sports, they have people that fit the position. There is no competition in the NBA anymore. There isn't. People, and Josh, I've mentioned this before. Teams do not draft to build a championship team anymore. They draft to trade and grab free agents and make a championship team. They don't build one. The Spurs built the hell out of their championship team. They are the latest true definition of a dynasty in winning their 5th title. And I'm so glad they pummeled the Heat in doing so. I've talked about this too, and I know I'm going to talk about it again. Legacy built versus legacy bought. The Spurs have their legacy built. During the Michael Jordan era, that legacy was built. 6 titles in 8 years. The era of the Showtime Lakers with Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Abdul-Jabbar, one of the only ones they got in a trade. Everybody else was drafted by the Lakers. Legacy built. I know I'm jumping across the board here, but, you know, Josh keeps giving me one idea after another, and so does Voody. Legacy built versus legacy bought. The era of the Celtics. McHale, Parrish coming the correct trades. Red Auerbach pulls the trigger. He gets the right pieces in place. Larry Bird drafted out of Indiana State. Trades for Dennis Johnson. They needed a point guard. They went and got him. See, when you made trades back in that era, you traded for position. You didn't trade for players. You traded for the players that fit the position that you're looking for. In 1984, the Boston Celtics were looking for a point guard. Best point guard they got their hands on, Dennis Johnson. And it helped the Celtics win 2 titles in 3 years. Actually, 2 titles in 4 years because they made 4 consecutive finals appearances. Legacy built versus legacy bought. There's no team in the NBA anymore. I'm going to talk about this more during the afternoon show, but I have a trivia question for you, and we got to get out of here because for some reason I have to drive yet again. I'll tell you more when we come back.
Looking for something to do Saturday nights this summer? Then the Arena Sports Network is a place for you every Saturday night. Every Saturday night, the Northeast Ohio Predators take center stage in semi-pro football action right here on the Arena Sports Network. As you can hear Mike Kern with the call every Saturday night at 7 p.m., only right here on the Arena Sports Network.
You do a lot of thinking on a bike. About your life, family, your dreams. One of my dreams came to me on a bike, to open up my own shop. So what happens when you complete a dream? Well, you just start thinking of the next.
Visit DrastichAgency.com or call 219-945-3040 and ask Joel Drastich how you can get all of your insurance under one roof.
Go Caleb! Come on, hit a homer, Jesse!
Let's go, guys!
Hey, did you guys know that kids who play sports earn more money when they grow up?
Of course. I knew that.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who read books have a bigger vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Jinx. Did you guys know that friendly children have more friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's true. I knew that. Did you guys know that winter babies are better at music?
Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
obvious.
Oh, hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Huh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I knew that.
I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Now what's that? I say now what's that boy up to? Better check on it, yeah.
You're listening to Snowman in the Morning.
Ask a silly question and get a silly answer.
All right, a little trivia time here. I haven't done this in a while, and I'm going to do it now. And one of my regular competitors is back with us. And I only have one question this morning. Only one. And that question is, and no cheating, Josh. Oh, excuse me. That snuck up on me. That question is, who was the first quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards in an NFL season? Once again, who was the first quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards in a season? Let me see if Josh can come up with this answer. Snowman in the Morning, presented in part by U.S. Tire and Auto in Gary, Indiana. USTire-Auto.com is where you can find them, or you can pay them a visit at 3350 Grant Street in Gary, or give them a ring, my buddy Dave McCann, at 219-884-4600. Mention this, and you'll get a 10% discount on all tires that you purchase. Again, the trivia question. Name the only quarterback to oh boy. I flubbed it. Try again. Name the first quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards in an NFL season. I am not on this morning, folks. I'm not. I don't know why. Everything is just going haywire. All right? That's all I'll say. Anywho, if y'all noticed, we got something new for you guys. And we are also, not only are we broadcasting on our regular channel, our 24-hour channel, not only are we broadcasting on Spreaker, but we also have included Google Hangouts, which means we are now broadcasting live on YouTube. So you can hear us there every morning, beginning at 8 a.m. Eastern. And I think what's going to happen, and I must talk with my producers about this, is that we're going to streamline everything there. And I got this idea from a friend of mine. Her name is Marissa, who is the owner of a website called InLacrosseWeTrust.com. Now, how did I meet Marissa? Through another friend, Allison Moran. And I got to meet Marissa because Allison was supposed to cover a lacrosse tournament being played at the Sears Center, lacrosse showcase weekend being played at the Sears Center, but she couldn't do it. So she woke me up one morning and she says, Snowman, I need your help. I said, what do you need, dear? She says, I need you to cover a lacrosse tournament. I said, lacrosse? What the hell am I going to do covering a lacrosse tournament? She says, enjoy it and getting paid for it. All right, good answer. You sold me. So, of course, I said yes at the drop of a hat. I joked around with her. So, Marissa and I started coordinating through email, and we are to a point right now where ASN is going to team up with the Lacrosse Radio Network and bring a full season of the Continental Indoor Lacrosse League. We are working out the schedule. We're working out the sponsors right now. And I am going to go ahead and say this, that on July 28th, we will premiere, our weekly lacrosse show called CI2L Weekly. That's CI, the number 2L Weekly. It's a look inside of the CILL, interviews with players, interviews with coaches, all kinds of good stuff. So watch for more notes on that as we go along. And, of course, Josh would give me the correct answer. First quarterback, and he probably looked, I'm joking as I say this, he probably went and looked it up. First quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards in a season was Broadway Joe Namath. He did it with the Jets in 1967. The question of the day, introduce. Have you heard the good news about a company that started 4 years ago and worked at a relentless pace based entirely upon one simple premise? Have you heard the good news about a place you can go to enjoy positive, community-oriented information about the town, city, or region that you live in and the people involved? Have you heard the good news that you yourself can share stories about this same theme to others in your community? That place is LaPorteCountyLife.com. At LaPorteCountyLife.com, you can celebrate a company that had a crazy dream based on a belief that positive breeds positive, and that people want to read, hear, and watch stuff about good people. At LaPorteCountyLife.com, you can go to a place to enjoy positive, community-oriented information about the town, city, or region that you live in and the people involved. Want to see more? Want to read more? Want to hear more? Then go to LaPorteCountyLife.com. Have you heard the good news?
Anne Marie specializes in premier 5-star vendor and craft shows. She also offers event planning for special events of any kind. Anne Marie's goal is to provide both her vendors and shoppers with an exceptional experience, believing that promotion is the key to any successful event. Anne Marie has developed personal relationships with her vendors and is constantly being sought by vendors who would like to participate in her popular events, often with wait lists for vendors. Working with Anne Marie is an enjoyable, stress-free experience. Anne Marie is a perfectionist and very creative. She is 100% committed to each event from beginning to end and believes that promotion is the key to any successful event. No stone will go unturned as it relates to promotion. For the ultimate in event planning, contact Anne Marie today at 219-741-0435 or visit anne-marieprince.com. Premier events in Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana are brought to you by Anne Marie.
At Strachan Van Til, we think differently about groceries. We always have. So what does that mean? It means better, fresher, focused on you. Your neighborhood store that gives you more. It's quality, selection, the variety you want. Choice Meats, Deli, Bakery, your one-stop shop. Everything on your list and all for less. With the savings you deserve and unbeatable service, that's different. That's built around you, and that's your Strachan Van Til.
Now what's that? I say, now what's that boy up to? Better check on it, yeah.
You're listening to Snowman in the Morning.
Ask a silly question, get a silly answer.
Time to wrap this express edition of Snowman in the Morning up. We are presented by LaPorteCountyLife.com. Have you heard the good news? All right. I got a correct answer to my trivia question. The first quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards in an NFL season was Joe Namath. And the year was 1967. Okay. Now it's time for our Gigahertz question of the day as we put a bow on this bad boy. Presented by Gigahertz, the official computer solutions company of the Arena Sports Network. Visit gigahertzpc.net. Gigahertz, and that's where we come in. Well, y'all know I'm a video game head. You know that. Trying to find a cue here. And I can't find it because Woody's been digging around in my files again. Oh, I'm going to beat him up. Nope, he didn't. Okay, it's in the same place. I just had to look for it. Do y'all remember this? All my video game heads, all the old school video game heads. Do y'all remember this theme? If you played it, of course you do. That, of course, was this theme from Street Fighter 2. I want to be sure I get it right. And that brings us to our question of the day, which is as follows. Who was your favorite character in Street Fighter 2 when you played? That's our question of the day. Who was your character in Street Fighter 2 when you play that video game and blew all your allowance on it? Let's see. Was it Zangief? The Big Russian? I've used this thing for a few of my cues. Was it Ryu? This one is used a lot. I want to say it's used most often. Or, to answer my own question, was it Guile? Another popular character. But to do that, you had to select the characters. And of course, you had Big Ken. Hey, this is fun. And if you got through all of those, plus a few others, including Dalsum, and there's a couple of others who names E Honda and Blanca. Now we're talking about Street Fighter 2 now, in its original format. If you got through all of them, you'll see 3 other characters pop up, and you would start with Balrog. And if you got past Balrog, as I lost my place here, if you got past Balrog, you would see Vega. Y'all should recognize that because that's usually the warm-up music before we go on with either the morning or the afternoon show. But that's Vega's theme. Now, for my buddy Victor Locke, if you get past those 2, you got to play with Sagat. And Sagat has a theme that could relax you so much and put you to sleep, and then he kicks your ass. But if you get past Balrog and Vega, you got to play Sagat. And of course, if you get through all of them, you have to face the big boss, Mr. Bison. And that's our stroll down memory lane. Street Fighter 2. I don't play fighting games that much, but I played the hell out of this one. And most of the time I was Guile. Guile was just fun to play with. Period. All right? He is one of my favorite characters. I would either play with him or with Ken. And then later when they created a Hyper Edition, you could also play with the bosses, and the one I played with the most was Sagat. So that's our question of the day. Who's your Street Fighter 2 character? With that in mind...
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Oh, man. Wasn't that great, kid?
We're out of here. Catch us this afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern for the afternoon locker room. More NHL talk with Mike Green. That is scheduled. That could change depending on what's going on with the NBA. Might have more Lyle Files this afternoon. You don't know what's going to happen this afternoon with all the free agency stuff going on, but pay attention. 4 p.m. this afternoon, the afternoon locker room, presented by LaporteCountyLife.com, as is all of our programming. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. We're out.